Hey everybody, welcome to Spill the Novelty, where three girlies shout into the void about our latest book hot takes and obsessions. I'm Abby,
I'm Maddie.
I'm Kaylee.
and this week we're talking about the highly anticipated new release of the year. You already know what it is, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. If you're like us and you're still very much recovering from this book, but you also really need to talk to someone because so much happened, here's the tea. And before we get there, just be aware that we are going to book. So turn back now if you haven't finished it and come find us in a few days.
Okay. All right. So let's start with what everyone loves talking about the most, including us, Violet and Zayden. So things are a little bit complicated to say the least right now in this book. Zayden is kind of slowly losing control as he turns more and more venom-y, and it's super heartbreaking. Violet is coping from the loss of her mom and also trying to cope with this like the only way she knows how, which is to try to find a cure, to try to fix things. For me, I loved their relationship in this book more than any other book. I thought the romance and their relationship, like the progression of the relationship, was on point. And I thought they had the perfect balance between like being a little possessive of each other, but giving each other space to like be their own person and have autonomy, which I love. And lastly, last point, it didn't make me want to gag, which some of the other two books at times I did want to gag at some of the things they would say to each other. But this book, it felt genuine to me, like even though they said a lot of like you're mine and I love you, like
Yeah.
it was like I still was here for it.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely the opposite of Iron Flame where they were just arguing the whole time. Like this book, they are loving the whole time. They are into each other. They are dedicated, girl. There are no straying eyes. Like there is no question who these two are about. Even when they are fussing about certain things. But honestly, they didn't even argue that much in this book.
No,
Um
they didn't. I don't,
they got along quite well. Maybe as Venom, he's
despite
just better.
everything. He's a better
Ooh.
boyfriend.
He's a better boyfriend. Maybe so. I really like the romance too. I felt like it was really balanced, like you said. It gave us that kind of yearning angle again,
Yes.
without them having to like break up for no real reason, or like because of a miscommunication trope or something like that. It gave a good reason for them to have to keep space from each other, even though they're completely dedicated to each other, so that you kind of like stay interested in what's going on with them. Um, I listen. I did get a little tired of the "Are you sure you still want to be with me?" conversation. I got a little tired of it
Yeah.
by the end. We had it so many times that I think it might be just like Zayden's kink at this point. Like, because that man, as soon as he kissed her, he was like, we got to have the same conversation that we had 12 other times because I like to hear you say it. And like, listen, if that's your thing, just say that. But like, I don't have to read the back and forth 72 times. Like, she's riding or dying. Okay. Like, she's in
She's
this.
ready or dying.
Just be chill. Be
You're
chill,
right.
dog.
You're valid, but I didn't feel that way. But you're so valid in thinking that. Like I can't even argue.
Oh god,
I think
it was like only the last one that I was like, brother, like shut
did you not
up.
see? I do think that the concern that he has is good and warranted. I'm glad that he brings it up because I think that proves that he does love her because since he's like
Mm-hmm.
continually descending into it's getting worse and worse, like he's becoming the big bad, or at least becoming more venom. And I think that Violet's friends do a good job of particularly like Riddick, like checking her on that, being like, hey,
Loved
I know
Riddick.
you love him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's one of my favorite scenes in the book. I'm sure we'll get to it later, but
Mhm.
when he's like, look at me, you have to have a line that you can't
Mm-hmm.
cross, and I'm gonna go yap and tell on him if you don't tell me what that line is right now. Like, we're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
make it up later.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me right now what that line is because he is dangerous. He is very dangerous, and he could hurt you. He could kill you. He could hurt other people. So I think that conflict was really well done, and I do understand why Zayden brings it up, but it does get kind of annoying in conversation. But other than that, I also agree. I love the romance in this book. I think there are lots of cute moments. Like him sending her that having that like nightgown made for her and like sent back, which is like also like
The little
okay, hot.
birthday gifts
But
was really cute. And that felt very
yes,
realistic too. It was like very sweet.
right,
Yeah.
because they miss each other so much when they're away, and
Mhm.
they're yeah, just the mutual yearning was very
Yearning.
good.
It was so good.
Good.
But
So
I want to go
yeah.
back to what you were just saying about the
Mhm.
conversation with Riddick because I think it's really important. And like, obviously, the line for Violet is like, if he hurts me, I will know that he's no longer himself. So I
Mhm.
was wanting to ask you guys, like, do you
Mhm.
think that Violet could ever really walk away from Zayden, even if he hurt her? Or like, do you think she really has that line, that boundary? Or like, is it ride or die, like we were saying, like forever?
I don't think our girl has what it takes with Zayden. And
No.
honestly, I feel like she basically says as much like in her internal monologue. Like she just kind of gives Riddick an answer. And
Mhm.
I think when it comes down to it, she's just going to make the excuse that it's like the venom that's making him do that, not that's not who he is now. And she would still like
Mhm.
have hope that he could be saved or something. Um
And
Yeah.
I think if anything, that gives Riddick and like her friends who would know that, even if she wouldn't cut him off, that signals to them
mhm.
that it's time. Like, I
Exactly.
think that that is maybe when reinforcements are called in, whether or not she asks for them. Like, other people step up and say,
True.
okay, he's a threat, he's a problem. So even
Exactly.
if she doesn't walk away, they know now that like if he hurts her, it's over. Yeah.
And that's why I think Riddick was asking that because I think he knows that
Mhm.
Violet won't do it, but he wants to have this conversation so that at that time he can tell her, remember, we had this conversation. You said this. That's why I'm about to do what I'm about to do. And then he's going to kind of like
Yeah.
take responsibility for protecting her because I don't think she's going to protect herself like literally at any point. I mean, she fucking, it doesn't matter. It's fine. She married him after he was already a full venom. Spoilers. But like,
Yeah.
she clearly has no self
Well,
preservation.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get
We'll
there.
get
We'll
there.
get there.
But
We'll get there.
I think you guys
yeah.
are right. I personally would not be able to leave Zayden, just for the record. Like, have you read this man's
Yeah.
dialogue?
I mean, look, I'm in a war-torn environment here. If it's going out because of Zayden versus like some other Vinin killing me, I have a preference. But
True. Wait, because
I
no,
I would like to think
that's
I would leave him. But
that's
that's not a
valid.
bad way to go out. Yeah?
Like I'll take the shadows. You know what I mean? Like I like those. So if I had to choose, like I'll take the shadows.
If you're gonna go out anyway, I mean, that's not a bad way.
At least I have
It's
fond
not a bad way.
memories with the shadows. You know, like
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Exactly.
If I
But
had
yeah.
to, Kaylee hates.
If you had.
Oh no.
Crying. Yeah. No, I agree. I love their relationship this book. Even though it was like heartbreaking to watch him like keep keep
Yeah.
getting worse. Or like when she talks
Mm-hmm.
about his eyes too for a second. Oh, talks about like the gold flecks becoming like amber. Like she's
Amber.
watching these like subtle things and be still my heart. That
Yeah,
hurt. That
it
hurted.
it did hurt. I was a little tired of the eye checking. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I was a
that's fair.
is a little much.
It
Also,
was a little overdone, yeah.
this is maybe not as much a critique on their relationship. No, actually, I'm gonna make it a critique about the relationship because Zayden can't keep his filthy little paws off the ground. Okay, a slight inconvenience happens to this man, and he is reaching for the power within the earth. Okay, whatever. I get it. You're an addict. And then afterwards, Violet is just like, kiss, kiss. That's okay. I think she should have given him some more tough love about that. I think she gave a little bit too much understanding and too much leeway because
Bro, what?
no,
It's
don't
not
do
him
that.
though. He can't help it. He
He
can't
can't
help it.
help
What
it.
is
He
he
does
supposed to
help it
say?
for 77 days or whatever. He does help it. Like
I
I
think
think
that that's
he
because
uses
he didn't
it.
have the opportunity or the motivation in those 76 days. I don't think it's because he made the conscious choice. I think it's because the motivation wasn't there where he needed to.
I think
I thought
no. I think he
I
absolutely
think
could have gotten out of at least 2 of the 3 of the early situations using just his fucking wit and power, because that's what we've been doing for 2 books, baby. You see Violet's in a little bit of danger and you immediately go for the ground. Settle down. Settle down.
Or like, you know what I really wanted for I'm forgetting which aisle they were on for this, but when they're
There are so
having
many.
this there's so many. But and I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. We'll get to that in a minute. But there's this scene where they're like uh basically fighting this diplomat and all his like soldiers and his tigers and all this kind of shit. And that's when Zayden kind of has a little break,
Mm-hmm.
a little moment, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and does something that is very bad and risks the entire mission. And I'm like, girl, because Violet could still talk to Taryn, I'm pretty sure, throughout this scene when the rest of
Right.
them could not talk to
Mhm.
dragons. I'm like,
They
tell
have
them, you know,
dragons.
y'all move over and then get them to just like flame all the I don't
No,
know, like tell the dragons to just go.
that's exactly
That's
what I'm
smart.
It's
saying, Abby. Like, they lost all ability. Not they, because Violet is not relying on that. But Zayden lost all ability to problem solve because he just immediately went for the ground. And I'm like, that's why his ass turned this book, even though it could have been dragged out to next book. Because, for one, he was like, it's inevitable. I'm just delaying the inevitable. Wee wah, 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 wee wah, you know, pessimism. But for 2, he just is like, when things are a little hard, I'm just gonna suck the earth. It's like, okay, try a little harder. Fuck. Your dragon already is mad at you. Is that not enough? I think if Violet would have gotten more mad at him, he would have taken it a little more seriously. That's all I'm saying.
it is it is true that Sigale being on his ass was like
Mm-hmm.
red
I'm
flag.
just saying I don't think we can blame our girl Violet. I don't think we can blame our girl Violet. I don't think she did
I
anything
think
wrong
she was
in
a
this
little too forgiving.
situation.
Listen,
It's all him.
if my man was sucking from the earth in that manner, I would yell at him. I'm sorry. I would yell at him.
Well, I would too, but for different reasons. Like,
I
what are
would
you
yell at him.
doing?
I would be like, you dummy. We had dragons. Did you think about the dragons that we had?
Climate change? Come on.
Literally.
Like, hello?
Hello?
What are you doing?
Do you think this is a
You're
game?
destroying the
I
environment.
would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I have this visual of Sam.
When I tell my man to touch grass, it's not what I meant.
No,
It's
literally.
not what I meant.
Stop touching grass.
I'm touching grass.
I don't know. Maybe
Anyway.
I'm not a forgiving
The plot,
girl,
the
but
plot,
like
the plot.
I just think she could have been a little harder on him. I think he needed a little bit more tough love. So that's all.
Okay, so let's move on to the actual plot of the book. Now that we've talked about Zayden and Violet forever. So basically what happens is Violet, some writers, and some flyers all group together to find a cure for venin. Most of them aren't aware that Zayden is venin at this point, so they're just searching for a general cure. And then they form an... No, sorry. They also are looking to form an army against the venin, and then they're trying to find Andarna's kind at the same time. So there's a lot going on. They're trying to accomplish a lot of things at once, and it's a lot. It's a lot to follow. So they're going like to island to ask these people if they can like join their army, if they know anything about the venin, if they've heard of Andarna's kind, which we know is the Irid at this point. Yeah. So personally, I've been reading a lot of people didn't like the plot of this book because it felt a lot like filler, which I find really interesting. I mean, so it kind of is filler, right? Like the first book, we never really got the world building and all of that stuff. Iron Flame comes, we never really got the world building. Third book comes, oh shit, the world building's really important. So we need to have some world building. And so this feels a lot like a book 1 of a series. But it's all really important, I think, and I think it will come back later. So some examples that I wrote down of important little things that I think will come back later are Riddick being able to potentially freeze the liquid inside of a person. Seems important. I don't know.
Yeah.
King Cortland wanting Violet for some reason, even though the island that he's on doesn't even allow magic, so it's like, why would you want her? The Onyx metal bracelet thing that Zayden has that Violet gives him, maybe like a future reminder of Violet later. And then lastly, everyone and their mother having 2 signets. I mean, that has to like come up later, right? I don't know. So basically what I'm saying is I'm having faith in Rebecca that all of this stuff, all of this world building is for a reason because it feels really intentional and she seems like a very intentional writer. So yeah, it does feel a little fillery at times, but I still really, really, really enjoyed all of the plot and like the ride that I was being taken on. And I was just, yeah, having faith in Rebecca is what I'm trying to say. So
I agree with you. Can I say one hateful thing before I say my real constructive
Yes.
thing? Imagine if at some point on like the battlefield, Violet finds some like crusty old dusty ace venom corpse bracelet.
Serve.
May
Wait,
I
what?
please be allowed to weep? Tied on it's Zayden. Zayden dusty ass, crusty ass venom corpse on the battlefield, and then she knows it's Zayden because of the bracelet.
Oh, that would be horrible.
Yeah, I'm just.
How
saying,
dare you?
It would kind of eat. It's hateful.
So kind
Sorry.
of eat.
It would kind of eat,
It
but
would
like it
serve.
is hateful. But like. Anyways,
I thought you were shitting on the bracelet. I was like, oh.
So
Oh
did I.
no, I thought the bracelet
You're
was
like
cute.
ugly, dusty,
Sorry.
disgusting,
No, I'm
no
hating on the
taste.
venom.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying.
Rogue.
I was like, I'm not following you at all.
Because they kind of look crusty and dusty by the end of it, right? Or at least Jack kind of looks crusty,
You.
dusty.
I thought you were shitting on the bracelet. I thought you were like ugly.
Oh no. No,
Gross.
that's true hate. I'm just like asking for pain for us. I didn't
That
get
would
enough pain
hurt.
from this book. Spoilers.
Yes,
So I'm
you
looking
need
for
to
more
talk
pain.
That would hurt.
Please.
Anyway, I agree with you, Kaylee. I think personally the pacing was good. We had a lot of shit we had to get done. Okay, we have a lot of plot lines going on, and frankly, I hate to be the one to have to tell y'all. We have to have a serious conversation about what expectations we have for a third book in a series. This book is smack ass in the middle of the series. We have to set up at some point. Not every book can be like pure, huge action. Banger. Like, we gotta start planting the seeds, and that's exactly what you're talking about, Kaylee. Is like we had to have a space to plant the seeds so that we can sow the damn ground next time. We got 2 more books. We gotta figure some stuff out. We gotta learn some things. So, I don't know. I think a lot of people had crazy expectations for what this book was gonna be, and I think a lot of people also thought this series was a trilogy still. So I can understand that, but it ain't, girl. We got more to do. So like, this was very necessary. We had to figure out the world. If you read fantasy, like, are y'all reading other books and knowing the names of all the regions? Because like, I'm not learning all that just for a book.
Still not.
I just skip on over it.
I won't. I didn't know what poor meal was, and I still don't. I'm scared. I don't care. Poor meal. That's another group of people.
I didn't even know what a
Bing
reach
bong.
it was.
Move
I'll
on.
admit it.
I don't look at the map in the front of the book. Like, are y'all really taking it that
Same.
serious? We're here for a good time. Relax. I don't know all
Yes,
the names.
we're here for a good time.
Chill out. Are they a flyer or a writer? All right, pack it up, move on. Like, let's go.
I also feel like that discredits a lot of great scenes that we got like during, their trip to the Isles. I don't know.
I really like the
the
Isles,
poisoning, the cook,
The
the
poisoning.
tiger.
The poisoning.
I mean,
was
hello.
lit.
Mom.
Yeah.
That was a great
His
scene.
mom. We got a
His
little mom
mom.
lore. I wanted the mom lore. I was like, I'm here for this. Give it
I
to
was-
me. Yes.
And I was surprised in how we got it. I would have never predicted that this was the moment we
Oh,
were going to
yes.
get it. And at first I was like, am I going to hate this? And I actually really liked it, that it was kind of fucking random. And I loved the poisoning, the cake, like his reaction to that, the family conflict. Hello. I thought there was tons of great little, like, not even little, important, significant moments during this whole section. So I think it's kind of wild that people call it, like, I thought it did some world building and really cool scenes too. I don't know.
Right.
I liked it.
Honestly,
I was never bored.
I was not bored. I really liked that part of the book. And quite frankly, like, if you imagine all of the events in the Empyrean series on like a long thingy, right? A long timeline. I think this book 3, okay, it maybe took up this space. I think it should have covered these events and then expanded better on those events. And all the like last 15% probably should have been in the next book. I think we covered too many things, because I really could have eaten up just a whole book that was almost all just the Isles, just exploring the Isles, trying to find the Irids. Like, we're going through, we're like crunching these like venom cures kind of a thing. Like, we get that in asides. Like, Brennan is like, we tried this. I'm like, I didn't try that. Me personally, I wasn't there. So, like, I could have been.
True.
I'm invested in that plot line, but, like, I didn't get to see that plot line because we're doing so many other things. So, like, I don't know. I really enjoyed this part of the book. I think it should have taken more space in the book, because there were a lot more things that I had questions about, and some of the scenes were so good. Like, they didn't deserve to be only
Yes.
an act 1 scene, you know?
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot of switching and moving and a lot of things. Yeah. Go Rebecca, honestly. Keeping all
Also,
that stuff straight.
I'm like, listen, I know our audience. Y'all read Breaking Dawn. You saw the 2 parts. This is literally fucking Breaking Dawn in a lot of ways. Like, they're just going
It's
and making
true.
forging alliances, bunch of fucking randos, and having little side plots. And I ate that up in Breaking Dawn, and so did all
You're
y'all.
so right.
And I would like to draw out the big battle, okay? I would.
Yeah.
Why do you think Breaking Dawn got put in 2 parts except for a bunch of money grabbers in the industry? We know the answer to that. But the other reason is because you don't need the big battle and all the cool side quests in the same fucking go, okay?
That's right.
I want the cool side quests. Give me the cool
right.
side quests.
She's spitting.
So I loved it.
She's spitting.
Yeah.
She's spitting.
No, you're
Yeah.
so right.
This is literally that kind of vibe. So
Yeah.
we all loved it.
I really think this whole book should have been focused on the Irids, okay? And there's a good chunk of it that is, okay? So don't yell at me. But this is like one of the main goals that we have in the book, to find the Irids, which stands for iridescent. Is it Irid, Kaylee, in the audiobook?
I don't know. I didn't do the audiobook this time.
Okay.
I switched.
No audiobook listeners?
I
I think it's
didn't read that.
Irids.
Irid?
I think I
Okay.
heard Irid. But I might be tripping.
Whatever.
I think it's Irid.
The colorful dragons, if you will, the colorful
Yes.
boys, which we just start calling them Irids because like a Venom refers to them that way, and Violet's like, that must be what they're called. So, which is a little crazy. Like, that's the enemy,
Yeah.
Violet. But whatever.
Yeah.
It could be a slur. You don't know.
Yeah, why are
It's
we
crazy.
trusting what they have to fucking say? Zayden's fucking getting to her, I guess. Yeah.
On God.
For being too sympathetic.
Anyways, so that's the 7th species of dragon, which is what Andarna is. They want to find the dragons to see if they know of a venom cure. They also need them to fire up more ward stones, because you need all 7 flavors of dragon to do that. And then also Andarna obviously wants to like meet her dragon family and learn more about like who she is. She's like the adopted kid kind of like arc thing going on here, where like Taryn's like, I am your real father, and she's like, you don't know me, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on. We eventually just get rolled up on by the Irids. Like, we don't discover them. They just roll up and they're like, what are y'all doing? They're super intellectual. They're pretty petty. They're very polite for dragons, but not nice. They're polite, but not nice. Like, they're corporate polite. The like, per my last email, kind of politeness going on here with this group of dragons.
No.
And they tell Violet that they left Andarna alone on purpose in her little egg, as like a test to see if humans had improved and had become like less war hungry, because they're pacifists. And Andarna's out here swinging her little frickin' scorpion tail, and they're like, ew, yuck. And she's like, yeah, I killed 3 venom yesterday. And they're like, ew, you're ruined. Like, yuck, ick. This is an ick for me. You're so violent. You're poisoned. Your owners did a bad job. You, Violet. You suck.
Your
you,
owners.
Taryn. And they basically just like shame her. There's like one brother that he ends up kind of like lingering a little longer, so you know he's gonna be like a recurring guy. But he also, once Zayden rolls up like a fool, and then he's like, brother, you have a venom with you? I'm really done with this now. Y'all got me fucked up for real. And so then they leave. Basically,
I cried.
yeah, you did cry? You cried when they left?
I did. I did. No, I didn't cry when they left. I cried when because Andarna, as the Irids are saying like, we're pacifists and you're doing this wrong and you're doing this wrong, and I didn't even cry just because Andarna, like, I was sad for Andarna. I was crying because Andarna's like defending Violet. It was like, she takes great care of me, and you know, how do you, basically. And so Andarna's like, defending Violet, and Violet's trying to defend Andarna. And they leave, Andarna just like runs off into the little woods, and Taryn has to like chase after her.
Okay, it's
Just
really
so
fucked up when they make Andarna poof out her wings, and then they make fun of her wonky wing. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That was not very nice of them. And cuz they blamed Violet for Andarna like going into her sleep early because Andarna used her like baby power or whatever. And her like whole sleep was messed up and she has a wonky wing. And so then they were like, see, you ruined this dragon forever. And Andarna's like, I'm still a good dragon. That's so rude.
Yeah.
And
It's
Violet,
so sad.
obviously, like a disabled queen, is like, there is nothing wrong with Andarna. Like, she is perfectly able. She can do everything. But like, it is a tough read. It's a tough. There should be a trigger warning for that scene alone for anyone who's like got rejection sensitivity, because damn.
That scene got me more. That and another thing with Andarna
Yeah.
got me more than like anything with Xaden and Violet, which I would not have expected, but just like
It's tough.
I didn't see that coming. Yeah. I was like, it's not Andarna's fault. It's not Violet's fault either.
They should have left
But I
instructions.
do Yeah, and well, I also think I was sad for Violet, not only because like she's hurting and feeling guilty, but Violet has done so much to like unlearn things, and like she is in the middle of having a lot of discoveries about Basgiath and about, war and peace herself. And so she's already like feeling guilty and like or she wants to protect, she wants them to open the borders to like take I forget where the people are from, but like take people in. Her whole outlook on this is a lot, and for them to be like, you're a violent person, just sucks.
It does suck. Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurted.
Hard read.
However, that being said, I liked the Irids. I liked this personality type for them. I think it made a lot of sense. I think it adds a lot of like depth to the dragon lore. I liked that they were like holier than thou, like hoity-toity. Like, it's a personality type that made sense for a dragon, that they just look down on everyone else and they're like snooty. Like, that makes sense. It's just they're not violent and they think that makes them better, right? Like, Taryn thinks he's bigger, so he's better. But like, they think that they don't fight, so they're better. So I really liked the addition of them. It didn't feel as tacky as I was worried it was going to feel. And I liked that it was difficult to get their help. I liked that they didn't offer to help right away. I liked that they said
I
no.
agree. I had the same thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And that I also kind of like that they showed up out of nowhere. That, we had this whole journey to find them. And then the second everyone's like going off to finish this, what they think is going to be a fruitless journey, boom. Like at first I was like, oh, that's too convenient. But then I actually thought it was funny. I thought it was like,
yeah, it was funny.
They show up when they want.
It was a little comedy.
Here we
That's one thing I like about, side note about this book in general, is I like the little comedic elements.
It was
of
funny.
Like,
yes. There were lots of little
serious
bits.
parts. Yeah, it's a good balance.
Yeah. I liked the reveal where Violet was like, the sand is moving, like there's a talon there, and then there's like a little huff of steam or something, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
And then poof, a dragon just appears. I thought that was kind of lit. It was a good scene.
It was great.
I was down for that. Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of scenes in this book that I can distinctly like visualize, which makes me excited for the prospect of a TV show that's been discussed. Who's to say if it'll get this far? Because of how TV is, but yeah.
They got a ways to go.
Does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh
It'll
yeah.
be like season 4.
Yeah, at least.
I'll be locked in. I will be
locked in, yeah.
So another long-awaited reveal that we have, of course, is Violet's second signet. We finally get it, and we find out that it is dream walking. So Violet can basically co-dream, can dream at the same time, with people near her, and potentially influence the outcome of their dream, which is wild. And at this point in the book, she doesn't have much control over it. It's very new to her. And for me, that I could not have seen this one coming. I think every theory that we had, I did not have this one accounted for. I don't think I like it. I liked some of the dream sequences and like scenes, but I'm not convinced yet. It's kind of a what the fuck moment for me. But
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
do y'all think?
I mean, that
I
sums it
wasn't
up.
sure.
Like, I didn't hate it, surprisingly. Okay, I didn't hate it. I was very like along for the ride. Like, I was like, okay, this has to be purposeful, and I keep going back to that. But I'm like, maybe in the next book it's gonna come up and like be really, it's gonna be there for a reason. But in this book, we just didn't really get that reason, I don't think, and so I'm kind of just like, I don't really know how to feel about it. I don't hate it though.
I hate it. I'm a full hater of this.
I knew you were gonna say
I
that.
was so pissed off when this was the reveal. It's underwhelming. It's stupid. I don't care about the dreams. Like, there are so many other more interesting things that Violet could have had that still wouldn't make her like OP. Like, she needs info gathering, babe. And the stupid explanation that they give about like, well, she needed to talk to Andarna and Andarna was sleeping, but she wasn't near Andarna, so she developed it on a human instead. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
That was wild.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, you're telling me that Xaden like cognitively like was like, I will control a shadow. No, he got that power because of who he is and how he is as a human. He's a
Yeah.
dark and twisty boy. And you're telling me that Violet's was so fucking literal that she was like, oh, I miss Andarna and she's asleep. And they were like, would you like dream walking?
Yeah. Now that you say it
So
like that, I'm like,
true.
okay, it is kind of stupid.
What?
But I'm still holding on to like it being purposeful. Okay, I'm gonna hold on to that because I'm in denial, and I think that's okay.
I also I here mm, here okay, a theory.
Oh,
What if that's
okay,
bull-
theory.
what if you know what, this is a good time to bring up that I don't really trust Andarna. Whole side note. There I think Andarna might be full of shit. Sometimes. I think Andarna kind of has her own little motivations. Andarna says a lot of shady shit throughout this book. I wish I had my notes and like all my highlighted stuff being because I just have Andarna sus throughout the book. So Andarna is the
Give
one
me
that
an
kind of
example. I need
um
an example. I just can't. I don't. We talked about this a little before the episode. I just can't. I can't see it really. I don't know.
I'm bad at thinking on the spot. I will think about it during the course of the episode. I'll revisit the end if I have
Yeah.
Okay,
a specific
revisit.
Oh,
Yeah.
line.
God.
Uh,
I think the scene where she's talking to the older Irid and the older Irid is like, oh, and you gave her something dangerous, didn't you? And Indonar's like, maybe I did. I'm like, this bitch has no idea what's going on. She has no idea what this dude is talking about. She's clueless. She's just offended and she's like taking the thing. And then like when whoever confronts her about it, the dream walking thing, she's like, well, yeah, I knew, of course, but like I'm not gonna tell you. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just don't believe her. I don't believe her.
I get it. I get it. But we have to remember that she's a teenager, okay? And you have to think about what you were like as a teenager. And teenagers are weird. Like, they don't really, there's a lot of hormones going on. And, like, you don't know,
Isn't she
don't
supposed to be
know why
grown
you
now
say
though?
things. No, she's still a teenager. She's still a baby.
I was a
She's not
fire
fully
breathing
grown.
dragon, I guess, at that point, but
No, I don't know. Because I don't really trust
I
the Irids either. I think that like if they
Yeah.
just want peace, like they totally could be on the Venom side.
okay.
Enough.
I'm going to find it because I have it in my notes. But my theory, okay, what I was gonna say, remind me, how do we confirm signets? Like, is it just the dragons like, yeah, that's it?
I guess.
How do we know? How do we know
Yeah,
for
pretty
all
much.
of Violet's like connection with Xaden, her potential connection to the Venin and everything, like her being overpowered potentially? How do I know that that was a signet and that she don't have some other fucking power that lets her do that? I don't know that.
We
Yeah,
don't know.
we don't
It
know
was
that.
just
What if
Taryn.
it's not a signet?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's literally just
I
the
had that
dragon
thought.
confirming it. And that's why I'm like, Andarna doesn't know what's going on. She's stupid. I think she's just
She's
taking credit
young.
for it. I have to, y'all, I have, if you watch our socials, you know that I'm already in copium mode about Violet's second signet because Rebecca Yarrow said that's not it. I don't care. I don't care what she says. Okay. I'm still in copium mode.
Okay.
This can't be her second signet, y'all. I will literally Kermit. It's so boring.
But she has 3, Maddie. She's gonna have a 3rd signet.
That's
I've already
fine.
told you.
At this point, I don't even care. As long as her second signet is cool, I don't even care. On God.
I care.
On God, I
I
don't
do
even
not want her
care.
to have a 3rd signet. I do
Oh,
not want.
I
I
can't
don't
deal
want
with this one. This one is so
Okay.
boring, bro.
Okay,
And
well,
Darna is suspiciously quiet. I have a bunch of them. Like that's a line from the book. And Darna
Okay.
is suspiciously quiet, and I have a little
What's she
eyebrow
quiet
raise.
about?
I would have to read to know the full context, but that's an example of one. I have a bunch of them that just say and Darna sus eyebrow raise.
Andarna sus?
I love it. We'll look more into this.
Yes,
Maybe
this
when
is
we
a
can
later
read
thing.
about it or something.
Is Andarna
Maybe.
sus?
Yeah.
And Darna
Okay.
sus.
Andarna
Okay,
sus.
let's move
Abby's
on
right.
because
I
Sorry.
think Andarna should die.
Yes.
Sorry. Anyway.
Okay, we're really moving on now. Okay, because of that. So speaking of signets, right? We find out a pretty cool. Okay. We find out a cool little detail in this book that kind of ties us to previous books. Sorry, my mind's still on. I think Andarna should die, and I'm like, okay.
Who said that?
I'm just still
We're being mature. We're being mature, and we're being quiet.
being
I'm listening. I'm
Okay.
listening.
Anyway, cool detail in the book ties to previous books, like I was saying. Basically, because magic always has a balance, like that's kind of repeated throughout Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Writers in this book, we find out, have a counterpart venin, basically. I don't know if that's the right wording for it, but basically it's a venin that has the same signet as the writer. So, for example, we know Violet's mom was a storm wielder, and so is Theophany.
Right.
Stephanie.
Yes.
However you say that.
Theo.
That's
will.
how I.
Or Theo.
Theo. Yeah.
Theo.
So basically we go through a lot of this book thinking that Theo is Vi's counterpart, but it's actually Lilith, and I think that that's really cool. I thought it was really well thought out. It's obviously like a good tie to the previous books, like I was saying, and I really liked the little tease of, and like it wasn't really that big of a shocker, honestly, but like I liked the little shock that it was like Lilith's counterpart instead of Vi's. I was here for it. I like this part.
I liked this too. Specifically, I liked the pain of the scene when someone else gets the shadow powers. And one of the little first years or whatever manifest shadow powers. And Violet's like, wow, but we already have a shadow wielder. And Zayden's like, you don't. The Venin do. The Venin now have the shadow wielder. Like, this is their answer.
Yeah.
Y'all's answer to me is this snot-nosed brat.
There's balance, yeah.
It's balanced. So I really like that idea. I don't know. Okay, it's her mom. Cool. Sorry, my dog is going crazy. It's her mom. Cool, but like, I don't know. The reveal was cool, but then she's like not part of the story anymore. Theophany. Like so quickly that I'm like, does it matter? Was it cool? I don't know. It was fine.
I think it was for the purpose of the whole balance thing. Like, I think it was for the purpose of showing us that each writer has like a counterpart or whatever. So I think it served its purpose just fine. Like, I agree with you that like Lilith and Theophany, that whole tie doesn't really, it just doesn't really mean anything to us. But like, for the purpose of an example, sure.
Yeah.
I like it,
I guess.
I was like, oh, I want Theophany to like. I thought that maybe that was Violet's aunt or something, like she's related to Gerald Stormgale. That was my guess.
Yeah.
And I guess.
Yeah.
We still haven't thrown that out.
Agree?
Yeah.
Can we agree that Theophany kind of slays? Like
she
her dialogue.
Slays. I'm really sad that it's over for her.
Kind of slays.
I'm really sad.
I agree. Like the letters, especially that she was writing to Violet, like they were so like casual and like they were like, "Hey, girl, come to the dark side." That's it.
Yeah, she was a great villain.
Yo.
And like the
What?
way that it was written, like, oh, if you see Theophany, like, instantly the battle gets like 4 times as intense, right? Because she's not just like a regular Venom, like she's hardcore. So I wish that she had been our villain for longer. I
Yeah,
guess
that's
is my.
fair.
I guess that's my complaint about the Signet thing, and like also, she's the strongest storm wielder like ever that has been, and then like the part when she's like doing the storm, and then like I don't know, Bodhi like throws a rocket at her or something, and then the storm drops, and she's like, "Thank goodness the storm like wasn't formed enough." I was like,
I think it was Violet. I think it was Violet that throws the rock at her, right? And then she's like, did you
Some
not learn the
stupid shit
first?
like
She gets
that.
kind of frustrated with Violet. She's like, did you not learn the first time? Like, I can't be hurt by your humanly tool, like, I don't know. She says
Yeah.
something like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of a funny moment. I don't know, because she gets kind of pissed off. Like, she's like, why are you trying to throw a freaking rock at me right now? And
It is
I
funny.
liked it. I don't know. I like Theo.
Hey, if we have a balance of power, then maybe we have one good dragon, one evil dragon for Violet. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Unless
Different, but I'm just gonna stick to this theory.
We're
Be
unless
gonna
like,
keep going back to Andarna.
yeah. Later on, I'll be.
this is your Nowlin theory. This is the thing that you will not shut up about for the next 2
The
minutes.
difference is that like you're probably right. But
I don't know anymore. We didn't even get any Nowlin in this book. I'm pissed off about it.
later,
Give me something,
later.
Rebecca.
But I like the balance too, though. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Speaking of specifically that balance, we next have like kind of a half sea battle. Where the Venons start breaking through the wards and blah 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 blah, and we're in danger. We're fighting. We're kind of losing. It's like kind of an L. We're trying to fight Theophany, but she's straight W's. Like she cannot be stopped. She's just a god like that. Okay, and then just all of a sudden the Venom or the Wyverns start like falling out of the sky, and you're like, what's this? That's crazy. And then big fella from the beach, big eared fella from the beach that was all sassy, fly down, and he's like, don't worry, I fired your ward stone. And Violet's like, thank you so much. Are you like gonna help us? And he's like, no, I want your dragon Andarna. I'm stealing her. And so he does, frankly. They have like this little conversation, and he's basically like, I'll take you and like I'll raise you in the ways and I'll see if I can fix you low key. And Andarna like wants to go. And the big fella is like, don't worry, Violet, like you won't die. You have a whole other dragon. And he makes this like kind of funny weird point about like, well, who bonded you first? And Violet's like, oh, geez, I guess it was Taryn. I don't know. It was just like a weird.
It's not very petty.
Strange. It was very petty.
That's how the Urids are. Like they're just.
They are
petty,
very petty. Yeah. He had his like homework done. Like he was confident about that answer. I don't know how he found that out, but like, anyway. So and Andarna.
He's a Rebecca fan too. He's reading these books like we.
Oh God.
Yeah.
He read Iron.
They would be big readers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And point to sus Andarna, because this bitch doesn't say barely anything before she just flies off and like breaks the bond.
No, she gets cut off. The bond gets cut off.
But she has to choose to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Andarna
she
chooses to cut the
consented to
bond.
the big fella doing it and helping her and telling her how.
He consented, and then he cuts
She didn't
it
even
off,
say
so
goodbye, Kaylee.
She didn't get the opportunity to.
She could have.
Consented, and then I don't think she could have.
She definitely could have.
I thought she cut it off. No,
he cut it off.
I don't know.
I thought
if
that he was telling
her, but I think he tells.
I thought
her
he was
how.
explaining it to her that like you have to choose to do it.
Violet afterwards, and she's like looking at her like in a way. I don't know. I interpreted it differently. I interpreted it as he cut it off, or maybe told her how, but like she didn't mean to, kind of thing.
I interpreted it as
looks at Violet.
She cut it off, but
I didn't mean to do that.
Looking at.
I interpreted it as she cut it off and was maybe like didn't expect it to happen that fast, but was like basically like okay, I want that. And then it just does it. And then she was like, no.
She clicked like the X on the tab, but she expected the little like "Are you sure?" pop up, and it just didn't happen.
And it didn't happen. Happens to me every day. I
Yeah.
got you, girl.
We all been there.
Yeah.
Okay, I interpreted that differently. Yeah, I thought Andarna was like saying, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I want this to end. Maybe didn't expect it to be that fast, but or to feel it that strong, like the effects of it. But she
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Readers,
Readers.
listeners, let us know what you think. Readers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing that I really liked, but that broke my heart from this was, yeah, the aftermath. Like, uh, Violet basically being depressed and like I do like that we got to see really the full effects of something like this like on a writer, and everyone like including like Xaden can't even get through to her for a few days. Like Violet just like has to take this in and just
Mm-hmm.
feel it basically. I did like that even though it hurt. Like I was sad,
Yeah.
but it was
I
really
felt for her
impactful, I
too.
thought.
Yeah. I teared
Yeah.
up when Taryn was like, "You must breathe." I was like, "Taryn, you're all we have now."
That part was tough. Yeah. I love Taryn. I love Taryn. Yeah.
Love him.
And that
He's way better than Andarna.
oh
You just had to throw that out there, right? Okay,
just kidding about
anyway.
Andarna.
So a whole lot happens at the end, right? We're kind of at the end here. There's kind of an actual big battle that happens. It's not so much of a like false alarm as the first battle. So basically what happens is Theo kidnaps Mira, who's Violet's sister, and offers this kind of trade where Violet and Xaden's brother, quote, can come meet Theo, and the city that they're in will stand, which could really mean anything. She kind of leaves it like open-ended. So there's a lot of like open-ended statements here. So Violet, Xaden, they mistakenly bring Bodhi instead of Xaden's brother, who is actually Jack. That's what Theo means is like it's Jack because the whole we're brothers now at the end of Iron Flame or whatever. So anyway, keep that in mind. They bring Bodhi, okay? So then Theo slits Mira's throat in this whole like very shocking scene, but no worries because Mira gets mended, of course she does, by Sloane and Brennan. And then Vi finds out that Theo is the storm wielder, like we already talked about, hence the balance thing we were already discussing. And then Violet successfully kills Theo, and that's kind of the end of this battle thing. And it's crazy, okay? It's a bunch of stuff, but all for nothing because Mira doesn't even die, and we can all agree like Mira should have just this was her time. Like this was her time to go. Like we came to what's the word? I can't even think of the word. We came to terms with it. We came to terms with Mira's death. Like we were fine with it, and then it was like, oh, just kidding. Like I don't know. I don't know, dude.
We need impactful we've said this I don't know how many times on this
Mm-hmm.
podcast, but listen, friends, I get it, sad, whatever. We need impactful deaths in fantasy, okay? Listen, I would have been gagged if she just boom, slit Mira's throat. That would have been so sad, but that would have been so good for the sake of the book. Like, oh, yeah, she ain't fucking around because she's a villain. Like, shit. What? Yeah, take it seriously. She killed Mira. That's what should have happened. I would have loved that. I would have ate. That would have
One
ate.
Sorengale should die every book.
I
That's
agree.
what I said.
I
Pay the toll.
This is a war book. Like, yeah. Oh my god.
I think
Brennan next book.
I think though, Garrick thought they meant Bodhi, but when Xaden asked him what they actually said, and then Garrick was like, "They want your brother," he knew they meant Jack because that's why they brought Jack. That's why Garrick brought Jack. He was already on the way.
I think you're right.
So because he was in the, they put him in like an armoire or something. And
yeah, they did. What was that about?
They still brought Bodhi because he has the cancel out thingy, and Violet thought that was their only way to win if he could cancel out Theo's ult, but it didn't work on her.
You're
Not
so
her
right.
ult. Sorry,
You're
I'm video
so
game
right.
brain, but her signet.
You're so right though. Okay.
Yeah.
So right.
But it's important that Bodhi is there
Yes.
for the next scene. Okay?
Right.
Which we'll talk about.
Right. So there's like a point where Violet is like, oh my god, I haven't seen Xaden anywhere. Well, it turns out it's because he's been hanging out with his sage, Berwin, who's the sage that we thought was dead, but it turns out that good old Berwin didn't actually die. Xaden just like pushed him off a cliff or something. But they have this weird thing now. I guess because Xaden turned like in Berwin's what do you call it, like a sales zone, so like they automatically fall under that sales director's category if they sign up in that zone.
Oh my god, like his like region or whatever. I don't know.
The regional manager Berwin automatically got Xaden because Xaden was in that zone. Theo's zone is actually over in like fucking Poromil or something, probably. She's trying to recruit. It's okay. Sorry, I'm going too far with the metaphor. But anyway, so Berwin is Berwin is Xaden's boss, and so Xaden can't kill him, but he wants to.
Yeah, basically. You actually described it really well.
Yeah.
There's so many jokes to be made there, but yes, no, that's correct.
These are just the facts. These are just the facts.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
So, anyways, Berwin is doing a bunch of tomfoolery. Because they've captured Sigale and Taryn at this point with nets, by the way. Not with anything cool, but just with nets, which is fine. I'm not upset about it.
What would be cooler than a net?
A signet. A storm that knocks them down, flings him to a cliffside, and flings him to the ground. Like, what actually happened? But he doesn't need to be in a net. Just knock his ass out or something. Anything. Honestly, anything. A net? Taryn got defeated by a net? That's embarrassing. Retire.
They're essentially birds.
I know, which is why it's fine, but I just found it underwhelming. Net is old tech. Like, we got the Venom have signets and we're using nets. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Berwin is doing stuff this whole time, guys. There's been a traitor. It doesn't matter. It was literally so anticlimactic. We find out who the traitor is. It's no one you know. It's not a name that means anything. Don't worry about it.
No one you know.
It's no one you know. It's Bancheck.
I still tell you who the hell he is, really.
I don't know
kind
either.
Of, not really.
It literally doesn't matter. Okay. It should have been Andarna. It's fine. So then Berwin goes to kill Sigale. And Xaden is like, I can't problem solve, so I'm going to suck the earth. So
you've got to stop saying suck the earth.
And what if I don't?
Using that term.
And what if I don't? And what if I don't?
Can't handle it.
So I could make it worse. He suckles upon the teats of the earth. Okay, sorry.
I'm leaving the pod. This is my last episode.
Okay, heard. This is our season finale. It's fine. Okay, so anyways, he draws power from the earth, and he full venons out, and the shadow comes over, saves everyone. He like kills a ton of venom. He like saves Dane. They just throw that in there. It's fine. However, we also find out that there is another person that has also suckled from the teat of the earth here, that is close to Xaden, and that Xaden considers as such a brother. And he's like, by the way, because this is also Xaden's POV, he's like, oh my god, how could he watch me suffer like all these months and then still make the same mistake that I did? So it has to be someone in Xaden's inner circle, because that's the only people that know. It has to be like Garrick or Bodhi, basically, at the end of the day. Anyways, they're there. We don't know who it is, though. We don't know who it is. It's just we know it's one of those two. And so Xaden full venons out. He's not an initiate anymore. I don't remember what the next, sales rung is, but he's leveled up. He's gotten a promotion. You have been promoted.
The way that's yeah. The voice is probably similar too.
I'm sorry. The end of the book was so unserious to me. Because we knew he was going to do it. It wasn't surprising. We knew he was going to turn all venom. I'm here for it. I'm ready to see like the villain arc if they let us have it. Frankly, like I'm okay with this like kind of lovers to enemies pipeline. I didn't have any hope that man was going to hold out. I also me personally, if you ask me, I don't think there's a cure. I think he's just going to be like this now.
Yeah, and they have to cope.
I think that's kind of what I think how it is. I think he might die.
I think he might die. But I was gonna say though, I think Violet might be truly like a nice little half and half, you know? I think she's part yeah.
Abby's
She's
still
part
holding
Venice,
on to
she's part
this.
human. I
Abby's
don't
like, I will
necessarily
go to
like
the
it.
grave with this theory.
I don't like it, but I do think it is.
Do you think they could have a kid still? Do you think like venin DNA and human
I
DNA
I
hope
is?
hope
not. We've had
I
enough
hope
Oh, okay,
not.
pregnancy.
No
sorry.
more
Sorry.
Renesmee. No more Renesmee.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, they
I've been
could.
personally victimized by the pregnancy trope.
It's so
Yeah.
true. I was
Yeah.
really scared when they brought it up in the book earlier when they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm surprised they haven't wanted you guys to make a kid because your signets are so powerful and your child would be so powerful." I said, "We're not going that route, surely."
No,
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Banned.
Banned.
Yeah.
It's a no from me,
regardless,
dog.
I will say I actually really liked. I know it seems like you guys didn't really care for this part, maybe, but actually, up until the weird actual end, I liked this little pre-end thing. Like, I don't know, and the whole reveal that it's actually minus the pan check part, the whole reveal that it was like someone close to Zayden that also turned Venom.
Yeah.
Which it might be Garrick still, it might be Bodhi. I think it's Bodhi, but a lot of people think it's Garrick, so it could
And they're
be.
wrong.
Could
But
be.
we've all been wrong
And it's
before.
well, but okay, but there was a quote. Okay, I don't know the exact quote, but it was at the end of Imogen's chapter, and I reread it today because I was thinking about it. But I think Rebecca's just trying to throw us off a little bit with it. But Garrick says this. He has this line about he's so exhausted, he's so tired and drained and weak that he can hardly even like walk back to Arisha or whatever. And he says like, I need to figure something out. And it's like essentially it's hinting that he could have had to draw from the earth to be able to like go help his people essentially, but I don't buy into that. I think that's once again Rebecca trying to throw us off. I'm just throwing that out there though. Yeah. Oh no,
What
Abby.
do you think, Abby?
I'm deep in a rabbit hole in my brain. So, question:
She's like,
did
it's
they?
Quinn. She's back from the dead.
Oh Jesus! So we can't even get into that. So okay, we don't figure out who it is. Correct? Like we don't.
No.
By the end of the book, we do not know.
Correct.
What specifically did they say? Did they? He said. Does Zayden say he? He refers to this person as he.
He says his brother, and then he says like, yeah, like what Maddie said basically, like he watched me go through this. He blah 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 blah. So it's very clearly a male close to Zayden who has been close to him, knew he was Venin, etc. So it could be Riddick, could be Garrick, and it could be Bodhi, but it's probably Bodhi.
Yeah.
What is that face, Abby?
And I don't
have an idea.
I don't think
I just feel like there's a longer list. There might be a longer list of people like. I mean, if you want to be technical for like men that he's somewhat close to, not like super buddy, but like Brennan knows. I don't know. I feel like there might be like a slightly longer list of. Oh, pause. Maddie has something.
It says.
What does it
How
say?
could he, italicized, do this? Choose this after watching me stumble and fall over the last 5 months? How could he willingly walk the path I fought like hell to leave? He's the last person I ever would have expected to turn. And yet here we are.
Adding the voices. You should be the audiobook narrator. Honestly.
That's what he sounds like. You can't convince me otherwise. The way this man
I mean,
talks.
not people that he wouldn't expect to turn. I mean, there's more. I don't know. There's more people. We think that Dane doesn't know. Dane might know. You wouldn't expect Dane to turn Venom. I don't know.
It's not Dane, girl.
No, because he saves Dane. It can't be Dane because he saves Dane when he does the shadow thing.
You're right.
He mentions Dane and Dane's dragon. But I respect the game. I'm down for you to keep naming people, but it's not Dane, girl.
I'm doing too much.
She's doing too much.
It's Andarna.
It's Andarna. It's Andarna. Okay. You know what? Let me not. Yeah. Wild ending, but somehow that is not the very end. You want to hear the very end? Here's the very end. Okay. We fast forward a bit, and Violet wakes up after being unconscious, and she has a ring on her finger, indicating that she and Xaden are married. Imogen has wiped her memory. There's a note that is left for Violet that it's hers now, implying that Tyrandor now belongs to Violet, not just this ring, right?
Mhm.
Um, what? Like, huh? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that
I
sums it up.
this you know what should have happened? We should have we should have had Violet knocked out, which is when we get to the POV switches that happened before this, which like we all hated. Violet gets knocked out, end of book. Scene. I don't whatever this is, I don't want it. Okay. Like we can get into this in the next book, but I like I didn't hate it. There have been worse endings. I see
Mhm.
the threads where there some of this was like planted obviously throughout the book, but I also just kind of like the fuck? The fuck? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
I'm recovering all over again. After hearing you say it again, I'm recovering again. It's a lot to
Yeah.
process, especially as a fan of these books. Like, yeah, I just can't say much. I really can't.
Yeah. I I think I don't think this was a good way to end it. I think for me personally, the memory wiping thing felt like a really cheap way to insert like a cliffhanger and not tell us like what actually happened. And I'm already bored with like the idea of Violet trying to like trace her steps and figure out like what she did and try to remember, because obviously she's going to do that.
Hmm.
I hope that is resolved like really quick in the next book, cuz like frankly I do not care that much. Um
Hmm.
that for me is why it's obvious that it was Bodhi that was the brother, because that's Xaden setting up so Tyrandor doesn't fall to someone else, because they hint at that 3 million
Mm.
frickin' they feed the fed horse like crazy throughout the book that Bodhi's the next heir. Bodhi has to stay safe. If Bodhi isn't safe, then the king is going to choose who runs Tyrandor. Blah, 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 blah. So I think this is Xaden reacting to that. But I don't know. It was fine. It's a fine ending. Me personally, I would have ended the book. Big fella come down. He say, "I want Andarna." You know what I mean? Or something. Or she go. She
Oh, you
go and
mean
Violet
like
passes out or some shit like that. You know? I don't think we even get here. If I write book 3, I don't think we even get here. This needs to be a
People
book
would not
4.
be happy with that though.
Yeah. This is worse.
but okay. I think so I will say I think Andarna breaking the bond, to your point, like I that is such a significant thing.
That's
Like
huge.
that is
Mhm.
huge,
That's
and I
huge.
do think it gets kind of we know that it's bad because Violet's sad for a few pages, yada yada, whatever. But that could be a bookending moment. Like
That's what I'm saying.
that is so significant.
It's way more
That's huge.
surprising than
That's
them getting
true.
married when they've been talking about it the whole book.
That's true. I would
Yeah.
have to agree with that.
No, I agree with you.
It's
I
fine.
agree with
It's
you.
fine.
Yeah.
I really
100%.
don't hate it as much as it sounds like I hate it. Like it was fine. It was a little underwhelming for me, and I don't like the memory
Yeah.
loss like trope thing. I don't like that
Yeah,
personally. Just me
I
personally.
agree.
I don't like that either. Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's very like and then I woke up, you
Yeah.
know.
And then I woke up.
And we already have the Dreamwalker thing, you know. So like I'm already on
Oh.
thin ice.
Really nice. Yeah, it wasn't the worst ending, but it just was kind of weird and not in a like fun, unexpected way, just kind of in a like, that's a choice kind of way.
That's a choice. That's a choice. So
As much
true.
as they say that in the book, that's a choice.
That's a choice.
It's a choice.
Yeah, that's canon medieval lingo now. I saw someone complaining about that earlier, that it's too modern. Bitch, do you want to read Shakespearean? I'm sorry. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll read Lord of the Rings, honestly.
Honestly, go do something. Go do anything else. You take yourself too serious. You probably watch Bridgerton. Okay, relax. It's fine.
And Bridgerton's not even the same, okay? They got like Lady Gaga
Yeah, I actually
remixes
Yeah,
in
like it's a vibe, but like it ain't serious. Be real.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, you're so right.
Period
Okay.
pieces.
You're right.
Whatever.
You're
Anyway,
right.
anyway. Okay. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the pod. Our hot takes and our pour overs. Okay? I will start. So, my hot take is that Violet is Signetist. I don't know the word for it, but I think she's prejudiced against people with lame-o or no signets, okay? She be sitting here yapping about, ooh, 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 I'm just a little lightning girl, wah, wah, wee, wah. But if someone does not manifest a signet, she don't take them seriously anymore, okay? And then also, and not to say that she was wrong about this, but like the first little quest squad that formed, she was like, could he have found people with more common signets? Okay, sorry, Violet. He built his team based on trust. I'm sorry that your friends happen to have cool ass signets, but you also build the team based on who you trust, okay? Don't look me in my eyes and try tell me that you're over here like planning strategically and you're going to choose some random first year that has a cool signet because you think it'll complement like Rhiannon's signet or some shit, okay? Be real with me. And then the reason this is also important is because Eric, who I loved in Iron Flame, he gets no respect in this book from Violet, even though he's done nothing wrong. And it turns out he has future sight and he would have been really freaking helpful. But they obviously didn't know that because it's not freaking lightning. So they thought he wasn't manifesting, but really he was. He was predicting the future all the time, constantly. And he was just being kind of chill about it. And she just ignored him. And he tried to help her so many times and she just ignored him because she's signetist. Because she thought he didn't manifest. And so he was just a regular guy.
Preach it, girl. Yeah, okay. You're right. I hadn't thought of that. I had not thought of that. I had not. But
I too would probably have a superiority complex if I could throw lightning bolts, but you are correct from a strategic perspective. I also do love Eric, though. Actually,
I love
Eric. You're correct.
I wouldn't be upset about it if she didn't ignore Eric because I really like Eric and I think he does a good job.
I know. I think this is a justice for Eric take. Yeah, and you know what? You're correct.
Yeah,
you're correct. Underrated.
I think she needs to get called out on it. That's all. She needs a little character growth moment. She needs to be humbled a little bit and get told that dreamwalking is a lame signet and feel a little bit of like what she gives to other people. She's like, oh, you only wield fire? Okay. Anyways. My pour over. I think that gods will play like a much bigger role in the series moving forward. I'm almost hoping we have kind of like a Serpent in the Wings of the Night-esque god arc where they start actually like playing a part. We have a ton of tidbits about like what the gods do. We obviously went to the Isles, which are like completely devoted to a god, and we had to go through like the little trials for several of the gods. We have this whole thing cooking with like Theophany was like a dun priestess, and then Violet is like half dedicated, and also my assumption was that like magic is ruled by the gods. Magic is what gives the writers signets. The Venin also have signets, so to me that implies that either the gods are kind of like enabling both sides, or maybe there's like evil gods or like dark gods or whatever. So I'm kind of hoping that we get like a pantheon moment perhaps, or like a priestess moment for Violet or something. I don't know, she's a little sassy towards Dun right now, and I'm like, you don't even know her like that. You could be a little bit nicer. I feel like she kind of looked out for you a little bit, but
True. I would love a god's arc. I
love a god.
Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. One of them. No, I do love that like was picked up on this book more than I think any of the others.
It was. I feel like they were using the gods' names a lot more. Period in this book, and that's why I feel we were getting primed for it, because like Homegirl was taking the Lord's name in vain, so to speak, a lot.
And specifying like the types of gods and the faultiness of some people's like decision to worship certain gods, like for wisdom and everything. Yeah.
I sniff a setup personally.
You're so right. You're so right. I'm here for it.
All right. I'll go next. My hot take's kind of lukewarm, but I think everyone would agree that Xaden at the end, instead of being like okay, after Xaden turns fully Venin, he still is like, his focus is on Violet. He's like lasered in. I still love her. Like, she is the one thing keeping me sane, basically. And what really should have happened is he should have completely lost his love for her in the end, because the setup was there. The setup was so there, okay? Because Theophany said, she has like some line where she's like, oh, we don't feel love. Like,
there's really good actors. Maybe it's No, it's
Yeah,
Theo.
we're just good actors. It's Theo. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, she has a whole like paragraph about like, and I think it even comes up again after that, like how they're just acting essentially, and the setup was so there, like for Zayden to like become into that, go into that mental state, and it would have been so freaking good. I would have been so here for that. Ugh, the potential
It
kills
also
me.
just doesn't make any
Oh.
sense. Like, why does he have his right mind and no one else does? Like, I don't.
Wait.
He's not that different, bro. Be real.
What if that was like why Violet got her memory wiped? Like, what if right when he turns at the end, he doesn't have his love for her anymore, but he does want her to take over uh
Mm,
no,
I have.
Tyrandor?
I don't think so. I don't. I've been wondering for
Uh
this quote this whole time.
okay.
Okay, early in the book, it's a recovered correspondence from Dane Ryerson. It says, "You
Mhm.
might be angry when you realize I didn't wake you to say goodbye, but it's only because I no longer fully trust my ability to walk away." So he still loves her even after, even at the end. If that really is talking about like the end,
Hmm.
I think he still loves her
Yeah,
at that
we
moment.
don't know when he sent that, but to your point, if that is the very end, then he would like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of down for it, Abby, because I was thinking, okay, because it's Violet. So the reason she has her memory wiped has to be tactical. It has to be strategic, in my opinion, because, like, she's a thinker, she's a plotter. So there has to be some piece of information that if she knows it, it will impact the way that she acts negatively. So my theory is she finds out that like if Zayden doesn't love her anymore or something, or like whatever with Zayden, or that there's no cure, right? Whatever. Zayden plotline no longer viable, right? She finds something out for sure. Um and then she realizes that she's lost all motivation to like fight the venom because she doesn't care anymore because she's depressed. And then she's like, oh, I can't be like that. Let me wipe my memory. Like, I have to continue fighting this fight, and I have to continue having hope that like there's hope for me and Zayden or whatever. So wipe my memory, because Imogen does say, I did what you told me to do. So it
yeah.
has to be, unless she's lying. She could be lying. I don't know. Imogen sus, question mark, eyebrow raise emoji. You know? But
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think Imogen's trustworthy, and I think you're probably right that it was like feeling based, but then tactical
Yeah.
afterwards, like
Mhm.
for her people. But like I think it was at
Mhm.
first based on this like something horrible has happened. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, dude.
There's a lot of
Can't wait to
options
find out.
there.
So.
there are a lot of
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, and that was my pour over actually. So I'm glad we covered it. Why Violet would need her memory
Yeah.
erased. So yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Abby, it's all
Things
you,
to keep
girl.
things to keep us up at night.
Hmm.
So okay, my hot take that I sure as shit would not have said the last two books. Uh more Dane. We should have had more Dane. He needed to have a bigger moment. I heard some interview, something about him having this big moment. He does the whole like helping with the healing. He helps steal the book from his dad. Uh we should have had a bigger moment. Something with higher stakes.
It's so true.
That's my hot take.
On God,
I
it's
think we could
true.
have yeah.
Dane was a little too convenient. Like, he needed to be more of a character in this book. Like, he was just a little too chill. I get, like, he feels like he's on probation. Like, he's trying to be on his best behavior and prove he's a good boy. But, like, he was a little too, like, yeah, no worries. I'll do this. And then I'll fade back into the background and, like, not bring anything up ever again. Like, I won't ask for
Yeah.
anything. I won't, I don't know,
And they kind
exist.
of use him. Like, they're kind of like, oh yeah, Dane still can't be trusted, but then they use him whenever it's convenient. So it's like, okay, can you trust him or can you not? Like, we need to be fully in or fully out at this point. Like, not this weird in between of like, hey Dane, like, we need you, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
And
it's just kind of weird.
he even
He's
loses.
trustworthy at this point.
He's very trustworthy. But they bring him on the quest squad to speak the languages, and then he even loses like that usefulness because it turns out Eric is way fluenter in
Yeah.
all of the every. So I felt bad for. I felt bad for.
Yeah.
But Eric was sweet about it because he was
He was
like,
so
I didn't
sweet.
want to tell you guys because then Dane wouldn't be needed anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
like that was cute. That was
It
a
was
cute moment.
cute, but I felt bad for Dana. I was like, you got something, buddy. Like, you got
He has
it.
a second signet probably, so
Probably.
what is
Yeah.
it?
Shit. Probably. Yeah. Dane bad bitch arc in book 4. I want to see it.
That's right.
I want to see it.
That's right.
Okay. And my pour over, we kind of talked about this with connection to some of the gods stuff, but something we didn't delve fully into is that Violet sort of kind of gets dedicated to the god when she is young. So there's a whole thing with like her dad took her, she didn't fully get dedicated, or they weren't gonna let that happen because they weren't sure what path she was gonna take. And basically there's just like a really interesting thread there. So I'm still thinking on it. There's it's for sure gonna come up again. And maybe that's how the god thing kind of comes back into the picture, but there's a
Yeah.
weird little thread, a
We
weird
gotta
little
go visit
family
grandma.
tension there too.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go see grandma. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's time to go through the river, through the woods, whatever the fuck. To grandmother's house we go. So weird little thread.
Weird little
I don't
thread.
know what it is.
Not enough info.
Yeah,
Need more
not
info.
enough info. Need more info to form an opinion. But I am thinking about it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, so it's time for the ratings and fave parts. Are we ready? Me
What you got?
personally, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my stay. I didn't love the last 15%. Okay, I'll be honest, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. I just didn't love it. So it wasn't a 5 out of 5, but it was 4.5, which is really good. And then my favorite part was Andarna breaking the bond, but specifically when Taryn does the whoosh and he's like, "You must breathe" to Violet. Like, you know, that was just very emotional. It was the only time I teared up in the book. I wanted to be really sad. I wanted to cry a lot in this book and I didn't. But that time did make me emotional. So that's my favorite part.
Yeah. I too wanted to be crushed by this book. We were all texting and we were like, we were so nervous about it. And then we got to it and all three of us were like, I don't know what to say.
I
Yeah,
guess.
just
Okay.
much to consider.
Yeah.
Much to consider. Anyway, my rating, it might be surprising because we sound like haters, but my rating was actually probably 4.4, 4.5 out of 5. Like, I think this was a really great book. Like, it just wasn't perfect. But favorite parts, all surrounding Zayden and Violet. So first, the chair scene, if you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say about that. The whole part where he was like, right, Violet Sorengale, 2 R's up thing, about like her being his consort or whatever. And then him being like, girlfriend doesn't have a permanent tone, like a wife or whatever does. All of those.
This is so funny. It's the cheesiest parts of the entire book, and you're like, that was my favorite.
It is
it's
like
so wholesome.
I know, it's so unusual for me.
It is. You're a sucker for Zayden. I get it.
I love Zayden, dude. I do.
Who can blame you though?
Right.
No, the romance ate. It ate.
The romance ate.
And there's a lot of cute little moments, little thing.
Whatever.
I will miss that if we don't get that, but I'm also the same boat, like 4 or 5 out of 5. Even though we were being critics, is because we do love the series, and there's a lot of great things to talk about. We couldn't get to everything, so I was definitely here for it. My favorite part was also when Andarna breaks the bond, because my heart also broke in that moment. But very impactful, very good, but very sad.
Why did she come back 2 hours later? It's fine. We don't have to talk about it. It's fine.
That was
stupid.
We won't get into it.
Evil Andarna sus.
Gotta be, right? Gotta be.
Right.
That's my last bit.
Okay, if everyone has said their piece, that is all the tea that we have on Onyx Storm. However, next time, we've been inspired. We loved the romance, so we're going to be chatting about Variation by Rebecca Yarros. Oh my god, I can't say her name. So this is her most recent release before Onyx Storm. It's a contemporary romance, though, so no dragons, but no dragons. But so we're very excited to see what she's got when she's just a pure romance girly. You can also stay up to date with the latest tea on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube by following us at Spill the Novelty on all of the things. And while you're there, let us know your hot take. Do you believe Andarna is sus? Do you think Dane was the brother? Who knows? Okay? It could be anything. Frankly. What do you think about dream walking? Am I crazy? Help us decide. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.